Stocks on Wall Street end Monday's trading session higher as Alphabet reignites the AI trade. The S&P 500 jumps 1.5% while the Nasdaq posts its best single-day gain since May. The Asian markets have also opened high, attacking cues from Wall Street, but the GIFT Nifty is indicating a subdued start for our own markets. Crude oil prices settle over 1% higher on bets that the Fed will cut rates and doubts about Ukraine's peace deal. Gold prices also rise on a weaker dollar and hopes of a Fed rate cut. India's new labour code makes minimum wage a universal right for every worker. The central government will fix a floor wage which may differ across geographies but allow states to fix the minimum wage. Labour Secretary tells CNBC TV 18 that a committee will be formed to fix the floor wage. US President Donald Trump speaks to Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders discuss Russia, Ukraine and trade issues. The two leaders also agreed to reciprocal in-person meetings. The first will be a meeting in Beijing in April, followed by a state visit in the US by Xi Jinping later next year. An iPhone maker Apple is set to cut jobs across its sales team in a bid to streamline the workforce and eliminate overlapping roles. Good morning. It's the monthly expiry for the Nifty today. You're watching Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18 in the Mumbai News Centre. I'm Hormus Fatakia. Let's first take a look at how the Asian markets have started off. And in line with how Wall Street ended overnight, the Asian markets are mirroring that move. The Seng is up almost 1%. The Taiwanese index is up 1.5%. The Japanese indices are returning after a holiday yesterday. They are up 0.7% as well, although they are slightly off the highs at the start of the trading session. The Kospi in South Korea continues to move higher, 1% higher today as well. And the Shanghai Composite too, trading with gains of around 0.5%. So it's a green-looking screen across the Asia Pacific, carrying forward that handover from Wall Street after Monday's trade. Pull up the GIFT Nifty. That is not quite mirroring the handover from Wall Street. Of course, we had these two straight days of last hour selling, last Friday and yesterday as well. And the implied open is also indicating a slightly subdued start for the Nifty at this monthly expiry trading session. We'll talk more about that as the show goes by. But to set you up for today's trade, our research team is here. They'll tell you about the trade setup, the stocks that you need to watch out for, and of course the setup on the F&O side of things as well. Firstly, Ekta joins in to get all the market cues we need to watch out for. Ekta, good morning. What are the important things on your radar today?
Morning. Well, yes, like you mentioned, the markets continue their losing streak from Friday. The Nifty slipped below 26,000. We had nearly 40 Nifty stocks in the red in yesterday's trading session, and the mid-caps and the bank Nifty closed in the red as well. Heavy volume-led selling in select stocks is what we saw in the broader markets as well. Now, the RBI intervention in the rupee helped the rupee post one of its biggest one-day gains in a month. So the rupee closed at around 89.23, but the undercurrent of the rupee weakness remains. So just to also put it into perspective, there has been heavy FII selling. So Friday, FIIs net sold around 1,766 odd crores. Monday, which is yesterday, the FIIs net sold around 4,171 crores, though the DIIs net bought around 4,500 odd crores. The US markets have closed higher, so there was some recovery in terms of tech stocks, so that's something to watch out for. Asia is largely holding in the green as well, but yes, the GIFT Nifty is currently not reflecting that. What we would watch for today is volatility on account of F&O expiry, the mid-cap index which has been underperforming, so any kind of weakness and heavy volume-led selling in select stocks would be a trend to watch out for. US markets, we have retail sales, consumer confidence data which is due later on, so that would be another cue. And in terms of a couple of things to watch from the primary market, the Sudeep Pharma IPO is closing for subscription, so that would be another thing to keep on your radar. But overall, yes, it was another day of losses for the market yesterday. Let's see whether there's any kind of recovery based on what we've seen in the US.
It's a quiet start, at least that's what the implied open is projecting. Ekta, thank you for that update. Over to Ria now, who would list out the stocks that you need to watch out for in today's session. Ria, good morning. What's in your list?
Well, good morning, Homer. Starting off with Dr. Reddy's, which will be in focus after receiving approval from the European Commission for a drug that is used to treat osteoporosis. We also have Siegel India in focus since they have received an LOI to establish 400 and 220 kilowatt in the Velgaon substation. Suntec Realty will be in focus since the unit has received an order from the London Court of Arbitration. The order has confirmed the withdrawal of the claim with the JV Grand Valley General Trading. Hoodco will also be in focus after signing an MOU with the National Institute of Urban Affairs. Paris Defence has also signed an MOU with Inter-University Accelerator Centre, and this is being done to develop commercial-grade MRI magnet systems. Moving on, Eris Life Sciences will also be in focus today. They have bought the remaining 30% stake in Swiss Parenterals for roughly rupees 423 crores. Keep your eye out on Surya Roshni as well. The company has received orders worth roughly 105 crores from an engineering and infra company. And lastly, Diamond Power Infra has received an LOI worth roughly 276 crores from Adani Energy for their Khavda project.
Ria, thank you for that update there. And over to Sudarshan now, who has cues from the FNO space lined up for you. Sudarshan, good morning. Well, last hour selling yesterday as well. But what is the FNO data indicating on the monthly expiry day?
So after such strong global cues where we have seen that all the frontline US indices closed with healthy gains, Nasdaq was up almost 3%. Similar move was seen even for S&P 500. The expectation would have been that, GIFT Nifty also would indicate with a gain of around 100 points or more than 100 points. But unfortunately, it's flat, and the reason might be because today it's a monthly expiry. But as far as the range for Nifty is concerned, it remains intact between 25,850 to 26,250. And if I go according to the options data, it indicates that Nifty may expire around or above 26,000. The reason, first, while Ekta was talking about that FIs remain on the sell side in the cash market, but in the derivative market, they have turned buyers in the futures especially. Yesterday also in the index futures, they have bought more than rupees 1,560 crore. And good parties, they have added huge long position. Addition was more than 7,400 contracts, while on the other side, there was a minor reduction on the short side, and longs exposure has seen a minor improvement to 14%. Now on the short side, exposure is 86%. Come to the options data. 26,100, 26,150 and 26,000. These three call options were healthy, have seen maximum increase in the open interest, but it was a fall in the premium. Similarly, on the put side, 25,850 has seen an increase in the open interest of more than 15 lakh shares, and here also there was a fall in the premium. This was for November series. If you go to December series, the maximum increase in the open interest on the call side was for 26,700. On the put side, it was for 26,000. So it tells you that on the downside, support remains around 26,000. But for now, today, I'm going for 25,850 support and resistance 26,250. Some of the stocks that might be in focus, two stocks remain in the band, SAIL and Saman Capital. Apart from that, keep an eye on two stocks, MCX and emphasis from IT.
Keep an eye out on all of this. Sudarshan, thank you for that update as well. Now, moving on, India has a new labour law regime in place where 29 laws have been repealed or rationalized into 4 new labour codes. The aim is to modernize the legal framework, extend social security to a wider workforce and ensure universal wage protection. Labour Secretary Vandana Gurnani told us that a committee would be formed to fix the floor rates soon. Listen in.
Floor wage was there earlier also, however, it was not mandatory. It was an optional kind of a floor wage which Government of India used to fix at regular intervals. Now, as per the new codes, the floor wage is going to be having a statutory backing, which means it's mandatory and no state should fix their minimum wage below the floor wage. The floor wage would, as you said, look into the minimum living standards, and there would be a committee of experts that would be deciding on what should be the floor wage, and these would be periodically revised upwards. A lot of factories would have slightly less than 100 workers directly employed and rest through contractors, so that they could not come in the ambit of this condition. Now this has been increased to 300, so which means that up to 300 the companies would be now encouraged to take people on direct roles with themselves instead of taking them through contract, because it's only about 300 that they would need to take permission for any retrenchment, layoff or closure from the government. So this, in a way, this actually increases or encourages formalization, and this is an aspect that needs to be understood more clearly.
Take a short break here on Power Breakfast. On the other side, get you all the action from Wall Street and the White House in our special segment, Trump Watch. Welcome back. On to action from the US markets. Then it was a very strong session on Wall Street overnight, with the benchmark indices carrying on from where they left off on Friday. The Nasdaq was the outperformer, clocking the best day since May. The S&P 500 has its best day in 6 weeks, and this was led by the moves in shares of Alphabet, which were up over 6%, and of course a lot of other big tech names were also up anywhere between 3 to 7%. CNBC's Mackenzie Sigalos gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. markets were up sharply across the major indices in Monday trading as Alphabet helps lead a comeback in the AI trade. The Dow gained 203, the S&P 500 added 102, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq was up almost 3%, adding 599 points. Gains in Google parent Alphabet led stocks higher on Monday as Wall Street got optimistic about the company's position in the AI race. Just last week, Google announced its upgraded AI model, Gemini 3. Google's move to the upside also extended to other big names in the AI trade, with most of the Magnificent Seven up, along with Broadcom, Palantir, and AMD. U.S.-listed shares of Danish pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk fell to a 4-year low on Monday after its highly anticipated Alzheimer's drug trial failed to meet its goal. The trial tested whether the active ingredient in its blockbuster diabetes and weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy helped slow cognitive decline in Alzheimer patients. Novo said that while treatment with semaglutide improved disease-related biomarkers, it did not translate into a delay of disease progression. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back to you in Mumbai.
Now, investors are weighing a possible Fed rate cut after the New York Fed president signaled that a third cut could happen this year. Here's some opinion from former Boston Fed president Eric Rosengren on why the votes of the Fed presidents and the chair matter.
I would be surprised if Steve Myron doesn't dissent for 50 instead of 25. I would expect probably 2 presidents to dissent for no cuts at all, and the rest of the committee to go along. But I think the minutes are going to show that there was much more support for doing, if you look at the participants and not the voters, I think it probably, the presidents are strongly in support of not doing anything at this point. So it's a situation where the voters really do matter. And it's a big decision once the chair's made clear which direction he's going, if you actually decide to go forward with a dissent.
Let's also listen to former U.S. Treasury Secretary Jacob Jack Lew on the way ahead for the markets.
Look, I think the outlook these days, you have to say, is uncertain. There's a lot of things that are very confusing. Even the jobs numbers that came in last week, you can look at one half and say it's good news, the other half say it's bad news. So uncertainty is the word I would use. When you have policy that's driving in an inflationary direction at a time when the deficit is as large as it is and growing, and the tariffs distorting so much that's going on in our economy, it's hard to say I'm comfortable. I'm not of the view that we're about to go over a cliff, but a shock could come and we're not well poised.
Moving on, in a rare layoff, Apple has announced job cuts across sales teams to strengthen its customer engagement efforts. The affected jobs included account managers serving major businesses, schools and government agencies, as well as the staff who operate Apple's briefing centers for institutional meetings and product demonstrations for prospective major customers. Employees who lost their jobs have until the 20th of January to secure another position within the company, or they'll be terminated with a severance package. And getting you the latest now on Donald Trump related developments, Vinny is here in our special segment, Trump Watch.
Hi, Hormaz. Good morning. And let's start with the top headlines. President Donald Trump spoke by phone with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, highlighting renewed engagement between the U.S. and China. The leaders discussed a wide range of topics, including Ukraine and Russia, fentanyl, soybean and other American agriculture exports. Now, Trump took to Truth Social, emphasizing that a very important deal has been reached for the U.S. farmers and that the relationship between the two countries is extremely strong. He, however, mentioned nothing in terms of Taiwan in the post. Significantly, Trump announced that he has accepted President Xi Jinping's invitation to visit Beijing in April, and he also extended a reciprocal invitation to Xi Jinping for a state visit to the United States later next year, marking a step forward in US and China's diplomacy. Now, on the domestic front, President Trump signed an executive order on Monday to accelerate scientific discovery through artificial intelligence, directing the Energy Department and its national labs to integrate existing and future supercomputers into a unified platform. Now, this initiative aims to position U.S. research facilities at the forefront of AI-driven innovation. Now, in other headlines making action, Trump signed a directive initiating the process to designate certain Muslim Brotherhood chapters in Lebanon, Egypt and Jordan as terrorist organizations. The order instructs the secretaries of the state and treasury to report and act on these designations within 45 days, underscoring a tougher stance on global terror issues. That's all we have today. Back to you, Hormaz.
Vinny, thank you for those updates there on Trump Watch. Take a short break. Cues from the commodities market on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Manisha Gupta now joins in with all the updates from the commodity space. Manisha, good morning. Some rebound in gold prices on hopes of a Fed rate cut. But what else is on your radar today?
Oh, that really is a major point because the markets are looking at a 79% probability of a rate cut for the month of December. That is how CME seems to be trading right now. Remember, it was 44% at some point in previous week, and that clearly is a deal maker here. When you look at the crude oil prices, well, we have seen that one edge further down, but this is on the prospects of Russia-Ukraine peace deal. We do understand that the U.S. has proposed a 28-point peace plan aimed at ending Ukraine war. Those 28 points are now cut to 19, so there seems to be some conversation happening which could lead to easing sanctions on Russia going forward as well. But yes, because of the expectation of a rate cut in the month of December, we've seen gains come back in case of metal prices. So gold is trading back above $4,100 an ounce. Silver is gained quite strongly overnight, trading above $51 an ounce. We're looking at steel rebar futures in China at a one-month highs. Copper prices have come back by nearly a percentage point in the overnight market as well. So all eyes really on the kind of data that the street is anticipating today. You have the U.S. retail sales, PPI data coming in today, and the weekly jobless claims coming in tomorrow. So between these three numbers, the street will really see a lot of reaction.
Oh yes, indeed. A lot of these delayed data points that will be reported later this evening. Mind you, this is a truncated week for the U.S. markets due to Thanksgiving. So a lot of data points awaited over the next 2 days. Now, Manisha, thank you for that update. Now, in a big development, the Delhi government has ordered both the government and private offices to operate with only 50% staff on site, with the rest mandatorily working from home. The directive comes under the GRAP stage 3 as air quality continues to deteriorate, with AQI levels crossing 400 in many parts of the capital. According to the Environment Department circular, no government office can have more than half of its workforce physically present except in essential situations. Private offices too must enforce the 50% attendance cap starting immediately. Hey, take a leave on this edition of Power Breakfast. From me and the team, thank you for watching. Bazaar Morning Call on the other side to set you up for today's monthly expiry session.